Talk about a bad idea.
I'm driving super drunk right now. Let's see if I get a DUI.
Live streaming when you really shouldn't be.
This is horrible. Like, I can't even believe I'm periscoping right now.
It happens a lot. And now Apple is under fire for a deadly crash while the driver was using FaceTime. Roadside mystery for the person who tossed this hero into a filthy dumpster.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ashley Banfield. This is Primetime Justice, and we're going to start off the new year with a real cautionary tale. This is something we all criticize. In fact, we all criticize, but we all do. Almost all of us, that is. Face it, admit it, you have probably picked up your phone at some point while you have been behind the wheel of a car. It all started with calling. We were on our phones while we were calling, and then it went to texting, and now it has progressed to streaming video. People like Whitney Bale, you might remember. This was her appalling video from Florida as she was driving home drunk and streaming it live from her phone.
I am drunk beyond belief, people. I can't read your snaps. I can't read your periscopes. I feel like I'm going to be drunk all the way home. All the way home, people. I'm going to be drunk. I wish I could read. I wish I could read your periscopes. Okay, I'm in a red light right now. If anybody has anything to say at the red light, let's go right now.
Whitney Bale was not the first person to do something stupid like that behind the wheel. She was lucky. She was only arrested and charged, but she's alive today. Mariah Modisette, not as fortunate. Just 5 years old, Mariah was no match for the 5,000-pound SUV that slammed into her at 65 miles an hour on a Texas interstate. The driver of that SUV, Garrett Wilhelm, was busy FaceTiming while driving and says he didn't even see the brake lights on the little Toyota Camry that Mariah was buckled into. His FaceTime app was still running when the police found his phone in the wreckage. But there is a twist here in that Mariah's family is suing Apple, the company behind the FaceTime app on the iPhone. So how much of the blame for what happened to Mariah falls on Apple versus the guy using the app? Tom Perumian is the editor and investigative reporter for the advocacyreport.com, and he joins me from Los Angeles. So, Tom, just walk me through what happened to Mariah.
Mariah was riding in the back of the family vehicle. They were on the I-35 West near Dallas, Texas, and they had come to a complete stop on the freeway due to some kind of police activity that was going on up ahead of them. And apparently Garrett Wilhelm, who was apparently FaceTiming, was coming up behind them doing 65 miles an hour when indeed he crashed into the Modisette vehicle. He went up over the back of that vehicle and right over the left side of the Toyota Camry, trapping Mariah and her father, James. James was in the driver's seat. She was right behind her father. Trapped them in the vehicle. The mother, Bethany Modisette, and the other daughter, Isabella, were also injured in that accident, but they were able to escape. The two, James and Mariah, had to be extracted from that vehicle. In fact, Mariah was flown to Children's Hospital in Dallas, or a Children's Hospital, I should say, and unfortunately she died of her injuries. And in fact, when police found that iPhone, the FaceTime was still up and running, and the family says that Apple is to blame for not providing a lockout device or potential lockout app on that phone that would shut that phone down when it was in a vehicle.
And he's been charged with manslaughter in all of this, but nothing else. Just it's the manslaughter. There's no other telecommunications charge he's facing, right? He
is facing manslaughter. As a matter of fact, he was supposed to go to court back in September. They've delayed that court trial now until February 27th.
So I want to read a little bit from the lawsuit, and I also want to bring in Larry Fishelson, who's a telecommunications expert and chief operating officer, in fact, of Dynalink, which is a telecom contractor in New York. And Larry, permit me, if you will, the lawsuit says, as a result of the distraction caused by the use of Apple's FaceTime on the defendant's iPhone 6, his iPhone 6 Plus, while operating the vehicle, Wilhelm, that's the defendant, his attention was diverted away from the traffic conditions on the road. I think that makes perfect sense, but at the same time, there are so many other things, Larry, that distract me while I'm driving, like a billboard, like people talking in the passenger seat, the radio, the air conditioning. Why is the iPhone any different in this case?
Well, it's terrible and tragic what happened here, but Apple can't be held responsible. I mean, this is really a frivolous lawsuit. Basically, anybody that goes in a car that texts or uses Pokemon Go or any other game or FaceTime is totally at risk. We're seeing more issues with texting and deaths than DUI. It's like going on a football field blind for 100 yards. So it's terrible. So the whole issue here with Apple was there was a patent that they filed a while ago that would give basically a lockout feature that if you went at a high MPH on any device, it would track it through GPS and motion detection. But that never came to fruition. It's really too hard to do. And at the end of the day, the onus is on the person that's using the device that needs not to use the device, just like you shouldn't drink and drive.
You know, I hear you, but I will say this. When I am in the car and I use the app Waze, which is a traffic navigation app, and it's fabulous, it asks me right away before I can actually operate it, are you the passenger or are you the driver? And it actually says, uh-oh, that's what it says. So they're very cognizant of the liability here. And if that app has the ability through my phone and the technology in my phone to detect that, shouldn't that also inculcate Apple in some way because they don't do the same thing?
You can't hold it on Apple. You got to hold it on the person that's using the service. Yes, you know, Waze does have an app, and also Pokemon Go has an app, and it can tell you the MPH that you're going. But at the end of the day, it's like anything else when you're driving. You can't hold the onus on Apple to go ahead and have a lockout feature every time somebody goes on FaceTime, because the truth is they can't. Right now, it's not really perfected where they can do it, where they can just block it out and not take down the whole phone. So there are other issues here. Maybe eventually they do get something like that, but in this case, it's not operational, and they should be held accountable.